Gaddafi loyalists clash in the capital, Tripoli. Hello, I'm Stephen Cole. You're watching Al Jazeera live from London. Also coming up this news hour, feeling the heat, how Europe's love for Libya's oil is leaving leaders in a dilemma over the crisis. In Yemen, anti-government protesters clash with President Saleh supporters on their 9th day of action. Challenging Chavez, opposition groups step up the pressure on the Venezuelan president. And in Europe, Angela's angst, the German Chancellor, suffers a humiliating defeat in critical local elections. Hello and welcome from London to this news hour on Al Jazeera. I'm Stephen Cole, and we open in Libya, where we're getting reports of troops, tribes and even a Libyan envoy joining anti-government protests. In the eastern city of Benghazi, scene of the biggest protests and most brutal crackdowns, members of an army unit say they've defected. They claim to have liberated the city from troops supporting leader Muammar Gaddafi. The country's biggest tribe is also reported to have joined the demonstrations. And Libya's envoy to the Arab League quit in protest at what he called a massacre against the Libyan people. About 250 to 300 people are now reported dead in Benghazi. Imran Khan reports on today's events in Libya.
The streets of Benghazi on Sunday, a building burns. Just hours earlier, Ahmed, an eyewitness, describes the scene.
A lot of gun artillery and a lot of gunshots were heard. I cannot put you can hear it right now, but 5 minutes ago it was really loud and clear. And also on the south side, which is 3 kilometers south of the army barricade, which is the police academy, it's burning now. It's definitely burning, big black smoke coming out.
In the morgue, one man takes a last look at his relative and murmurs he was not armed. Also from Benghazi, this video claims to show what protesters believe is a mercenary, a hired killer, contracted by the Libyan regime to attack demonstrators. Unrest is spreading across the country. Here in Al-Bayda, thousands gather near the main mosque, another city rocked by days of protests against the country's leadership. Chanting, "There's no God but Allah," mourners carry the body of one of those killed. And there's more chaos. Anti-Gaddafi graffiti sprayed on walls, and a voice through a loudspeaker saying, "There's no state here." Reports of casualties are running high and constantly rising. The city's hospital overwhelmed, the morgues filled with bodies, and more are still coming. On Libyan state television, the first sign that the country might be in difficulty. Images of burning buildings, a result of the protests. It's a change from what they'd been airing earlier. No mention of any anti-government protests, instead showing supporters of the Libyan leader on the streets of Tripoli. But while thousands remain on the streets in various cities across the country, it's becoming harder and harder to ignore their calls. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera.
Ahmed Attia is a political activist in Benghazi, and he told me what the situation was like there.
Now I am inside the court together with the demonstrators. The situation here is that Benghazi has fallen into the hands of the demonstrators. In fact, it has fallen into the hands of all Benghazi people. They have brought the mercenaries who are there, they brought them into the court and have obtained confessions from them, and they are now kept inside the court. Praise be to God, we have great system here. People are acting shoulder to shoulder, they are cooperating. Thank God there has been no theft. For example, banks are protected by the people. People are also protecting public places and commercial shops. Everybody is protecting them. Everything is 100% fine.
Earlier we spoke to Sadiq Al-Geriani, a prominent Muslim scholar in Libya, who described the situation there. He's since been arrested. Here's what he told Al Jazeera.
It is horrible. One cannot believe that this sort of thing could happen in our country. Most of those involved are mercenaries from Africa and from within. And now there is an airlift between Tripoli and Benghazi to transport these mercenaries and their ammunition. Tripoli and all its suburbs should come out simultaneously so that this bloodshed can be stopped. It is the duty of every Muslim to do what's necessary to stop this bloodletting. It is horrible massacre. I also want to address the Libyan tribes. There are reliable news that weapons is being distributed on their young men with the intention of reviving a tribal infighting.
We're also getting reports of clashes tonight between anti-government demonstrators and Gaddafi loyalists in Tripoli's Green Square. In the past hour, I spoke to a protester who was taking part in the march towards the square.
1 hour ago, I don't know, good 1,500, 2,000 people now gathered. They block all roads. They burn anything that's owned by the government on the way. I mean, we're now burning a picture of the president. That's why the noise is so loud and everybody's happy. There's women on the balconies screaming and singing and loving it.
And this is all happening in Tripoli?
Yep, yeah. And we're walking now towards the Green Square. We're going down the town. The people you can hear next to me now are screaming, obviously, chants of, "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Come out if you're a man. Where are you?"
Which square are you heading towards?
I believe we're heading towards the Green Square. To be honest, nobody controls these people. You know, we just do what we want. But at the moment, there's no police, there's no army, there's no security forces. Everything's been blocked off by the protesters. And, you know, as we cross the town where apartment buildings are filled with people who live here, we are picking up people on the way. You know, everybody's been waiting for this, and it's finally happened.
US State Department spokesman PJ Crowley issued a statement about Libya. He said, the United States is gravely concerned with disturbing reports and images coming out of the country. We have raised a number of Libyan officials our strong objections to the use of lethal force against peaceful demonstrators. Libyan officials have stated their commitment to protecting and safeguarding the right of peaceful protest. We call upon the Libyan government to uphold that commitment. There have also been protests here in London. Up to 100 anti-Gaddafi demonstrators have been protesting outside the Libyan embassy in London, next door to AlJazeera. Libyan expatriates living in the United Kingdom are concerned about the violence spreading around their home country, and are calling for Muammar Gaddafi to step down. Azzeldin El-Sharif is a Libyan activist who took part in that protest. He was imprisoned and tortured for 7 months in Libya in '84 while he was a conscript. Tell us a little, you've been out of the country for about 10 years or so.
Yes.
Tell us a little of what happened to you when you were in Libya.
Right. Because of Gaddafi's oppression, the Libyans cannot voice out their opinion.